Hey, welcome to this quick Ciri guide. So I am viewing her from the Taiwanese server, so there may be translation errors. Just keep that in mind. Part of 3 factions: Dimension Traveler, Drifter Camp, and the Alacrity Camp as well. She's got a below average speed, but if we go to a trait, then we can see she's going to increase her speed by 100 through her trait. So she actually has a speed of 252, which is one of the faster units in the game. At the start of the battle, she gains 1 energy. This is once off. When ending a turn with a non-standby method, if not having winged repose, the character can use the skill Blink, limited to 1 per round. So yeah, as long as you're not going into standby, if you use any kind of action, and if she doesn't have this winged repose on her, then she's able to blink, and blink is gonna allow her to teleport within 3 tiles, and she can re-attack and then move again using her remaining movement. After she blinks, she will be affected with winged repose for 4 turns. Similar mechanics to Rowia SP over here, Rowia SP's fatigue, but not quite the same. When not having winged repose or having used blink this turn, physical attack from trait is doubled. So the 5% physical attack will be doubled over there. At 2 stars, you get physical attack of 10%, you can double that to 20%. Blink max range, the teleportation range is increased by 1 tile and additionally restores 1 energy. There's good energy restoration at 3 stars. Additionally, going to restore 2 energy at 3 stars and reduce all skill cooldowns by 1 turn. And wing repose duration is reduced by 1 turn, so just 3 turns there. At 4 stars, physical attack increased by 15%. She can restore 3 energy and reduce cooldowns by 2 turns. Big jump at 4 stars. At 5 stars, the blink max range is increased by 2 tiles, allowing her to teleport quite far, and then it's going to restore all energy and reset all cooldowns. And wing repose duration is reduced by 2 turns. So just keep that energy restoration in mind as we choose skills. So she comes with this initial skill that costs 3 energy. Charge, physical damage, selects 1 location within a cross range shape, charges to that location, deals 100% damage to the enemy closest to the end point on the path, inflicting stagger for 1 turn. Stagger is going to be a bound effect. Auxiliary passive, it also comes with an auxiliary passive. After casting a basic attack, additionally inflicts stagger on the target for 1 turn. She has various methods of inflicting stagger, even her basic attacks can stagger enemies. Okay, so let's take a look at his skills. At rank 1 on the left side here, Light That Breaks the Night. Very expensive skill, 3 energy cost, 3 turn cooldown. Remember, if you can star her up, she can start reducing all those costs. Physical damage, deals 30% AoE damage to all enemies within 3 tiles of the character around herself. And inflicts stagger for 1 turn. So you can inflict stagger on multiple enemies. That's going to bound multiple enemies, and then some of the other collaboration units can do are going to do more damage and more effects to enemies who are bound. So you can use her to very easily bound a lot of enemies. On the right side, we have a passive that's going to increase a crit by 40%. That's very high. Always lands critical hits against enemies with bound and increases damage dealt by 20%. Also very good skill on the right side there. If you're not sure what skill to choose, then like me, just don't choose a skill now, and then as you figure out your unit better, you can come back and decide which of these you want to go for. We also only have 3 skill slots, so we may not even be able to run these skills. At rank 3, we have Nova on the left, 70% AoE damage to all enemies within 3 tiles of her, knock back the adjacent targets by 2 tiles. When attacking targets with bound, this skill deals 2 times more damage and knocks back enemies twice as far, I think. If the character is in winged repose, remember that sort of debuff she has at the start of the turn, attacks with this skill this turn treat targets as if they are being bound. So very good skill here, 70% damage, like so, and then the knockback of 2 tiles. If they're bound, it's going to knock them back 4 tiles, if I'm not mistaken, and deal 140% damage. So really good skill. Also, if she has that winged repose debuff on her, which she will be having for like 4 turns, so she'll have that a lot, then it's gonna, they don't have to be bound, she'll be knocking them back twice as much anyway. Really good skill with no energy cost, no cooldown. So I've gone for this skill on the left. Skill on the right is much more expensive. 4 energy cost and 3 turn cooldown. Keep in mind she can reduce that. She can reduce the cooldown costs at 5 stars and 4 stars even. Physical damage, AoE damage to the closest 3 enemies within 4 tiles of her. Sorry, within 4 tiles. So it's got a lot more range, you can see, compared to that range that we get from Nova. The range is wider there. When hitting one enemy, damage multiplier is 120%. So the skill does 120% damage to one enemy. But for each additional enemy hit, skill multiplier decreases your damage by 20% to a minimum of 40%. So if she's hitting more than one enemy, this is only going to do 40% damage to those enemies. And when attacking targets with bound, the attack increases by 80%. So yeah, have your pick of these two. Both of these skills are going to be buffed up with her astral weapon. We'll take a look at that later. But the skill on the right is much more expensive. The skill on the left you can use every turn and you can very easily double the damage there, and the knockbacks are very valuable there. So that's what I've gone for. And then at rank 5 we have a generic skill on the left here. Fleeing Hair, we know about that one. And then on the right side, the Lion Cub of Sintra, unique skill created just for her. After using Blink, gains 3 stacks of damage lock, and damage lock is basically a buff. Damage taken from a single attack, only single attacks, cannot exceed a certain percentage of max HP. After triggering, remove 1 stack. This is going to increase the survivability, just putting a lock on how much damage she can take, so she can really survive very big, very hard hits as well, single hits. After being attacked or using skills with teleportation or charge effects, restore 40% of lost HP, can be triggered twice per turn. There, more sustain in a kit as well over there. This allows it to be quite tanky evens. I've gone for that skill there. At rank 7, on the left side here we have Temporal Shift, no energy cost, no cooldown, you can use it every turn. Support, after using the skill at the end of the turn, restore 1 energy. Reduce all skill cooldowns by 1 turn, and reduces winged repose duration. Remember, this is the kind of debuff that doesn't allow her to blink until it goes down. You reduce that duration from by 1 turn. If blink was used this turn, the winged repose duration reduction effect will not activate. So yeah, a little bit of a penalty there. If you already used blink, then you're not going to be able to get that 1 turn reduction in your winged repose if you have already used it this turn. It comes with auxiliary passive also. After casting basic attacks, you'll trigger the above effects. So this support skill, if I'm not mistaken, you don't even have to cast this skill. If you're using a basic attack, then these effects are going to be triggered anyway, automatically. So it's kind of like a passive skill in a way, as an auxiliary passive. And on the right side here, Homecoming Swallow, just a 1 turn cooldown, no energy cost, instant. The character gains Nest's Call and the skill switches to Departing Swallow. So Nest's Call, after performing physical attacks, inflicts speed down 2 on the enemy for 2 turns. At the end of the turn, automatically teleports to the closest ally within 5 tiles, restore 30% HP and restore 1 energy. So she'll fly back to the nest, go back to safety after she's hit the enemy, get some energy restoration and HP restoration, helping her for a sustain as well there. Then the skill switches into Departing Swallow. Support instant removes Nest Call from the character. So basically, I think it just means you're deactivating the skill if you don't want her to keep teleporting back to an ally. I think that's the only reason I can think that you have to remove the effect. We'll take a look at that in the demonstration as well. And then for basic attacks, we've got generic basic attacks here. I still haven't decided which one I want to go for. But basic attacks are kind of important to her. Remember, they can inflict bound on the enemies, and when she uses a basic attack, it's also going to trigger the support's skills effects as well. So I haven't chosen a skill yet. Maybe the lifesteal, she's got quite a lot of regen, so maybe I'll keep adding to the lifesteal. Or you can increase the crit damage she does by 15%. Before I decide on going for the crit damage, I first want to know if she has enough crit. enough crit chance, because if she's not even critting enemies, then what's the point of having the crit damage? So once I know how much crit chance she has, then maybe this is gonna make more sense for her. And then at rank 11, we have a generic skill on the left. I would ignore this skill and I'd go for Dimension Travel on the right. It's a leadership aura, regular leadership aura for all Dimension Traveler allies in battle, increase attack and defense 10 and 20. As an alternative to Geralt, who has a superior leadership aura or advanced leadership aura that has additional effects. You can use this as your plan B for Dimension Traveler units. If we look at the Dimension Traveler group, these are the units in there. I think it's going to be all collaboration units that are going to be there. And then for rank 13, Ascension skill. So she's got a generic Ascension skill and a unique Ascension skill. So the unique Ascension skill for her, passive, non-first skills used each turn have damage increased by 10%. So I think the second skill she uses, she's doing multiple actions sometimes. So the second action she uses is going to increase damage 10%. Level 2, you're going to increase damage 10% and crit damage by 10%. At level 3, interesting, there's more things here. Non-skills used, 10% crit damage increased. If Blink was used this turn, crit damage additionally increased by 10%. So you can increase crit damage to 20% there. Alright, so what skills can we actually run in our 3 skill slots? So have your pick on the basic attacks there. The reaction is easy to select. And then we have 3 skills we can still select here. So I think for now the build I like is the initial skill she comes with to get that charge and inflict stagger with the auxiliary passive where our basic attacks can stagger the enemies. 3 energy costs, but this is going to give us extra mobility as well. Main damage maybe comes from Nova. We can cast this every turn. Also knockbacks and being really obnoxious to the enemy. So we'll use that for our AoE damage. And then we have Temporal Shift, which is a support skill that gives us energy at the end of the turn, reducing cooldowns as well as reducing the winged repose duration by 1 turn. It's also auxiliary effect, so this can affect with, we don't actually have to cast this skill. If we use a basic attack, it's gonna trigger anyway. You can easily use basic attacks on like a second action anyway. So I like this build for now. Alternatively, maybe we can switch out the charge skill over there and we can give the home calling so that we can get the nest call. Just give her more energy restoration and HP restoration over there. Or if you want to have her be support and give the leadership aura. Other options you have in that skill slot as well can be the skill here where we can inflict stagger on a number of enemies. Or I also like, maybe I'll run this passive on her to increase her overall damage output for herself. Crit chance, now we're getting a lot of crit chance, so maybe I would go for the basic attack that's going to deal extra crit damage. If I had this amount of crit chance, that's a good passive to run in that skill slot as well. Or you could run both of these skills if you wanted to. If she has enough energy, maybe 5 stars and you know, plenty of energy there and cooldown reduction. You could even run both of these skills at 5 stars. But for now, let's go for this and then we'll show those in the demonstration. Now for Ciri's gear, I can only see a 5-star copy, so I don't know how this thing's going to be at lower stars. So it could be a bit expensive for you. After triggering teleportation or charge effects, the next attack skill deals 25% increase in damage. And that's okay, it's not that much at 5 stars, but it's okay. When the skill is Flash that cuts through darkness, the character can select one more target and deal 25% additional damage. When the skill is Nova, remember the skill that knocks back the enemy so much, additionally knocks the targets back 2 tiles and deals 25% additional damage. So is that going to be up to 6 tiles you can knock the enemies back? But Flash that cuts the darkness gets more value if you have the astral weapon as well. You can select one more target and deal more damage as well. So yeah, Nova's knockbacks will increase with that astral gear, and Flash that cuts through darkness, the expensive skill as well. You can hit an additional enemy and additional damage is done there as well. Not sure exactly how that's going to play out. For now, I'm just going for a free to play option. I'm using the ever burning blade. So after dealing damage with single target attacks, which he does do basic attacks, we can maybe get Scorch on the enemy, inflicting life loss on the enemy. And this could maybe work with Triss, who does like to do additional damage on enemies who have life loss. So maybe that could work. and you deal more damage, 20% more damage to enemies with Scorch as well. So it's a free to play option. You can guarantee after a single target attack you're going to inflict Scorch on the enemies. Also, to increase crit chance, Void Stab will be nice, 15% increase in crit chance and crit damage there. And then for trinkets, I'm using the Maverick's Cloak because she can blink, she can, you know, she can move away from her allies very easily and then increase attack and defense. If we go to 5 stars, attack and defense are going to be increased 12%. And crit chance, there we get the extra crit chance as well, 20% there. Shield of Justice works on just about any unit as well. Origin Hourglass, another free to play option that could be quite good. You could get that increase in physical attack 8% and immunity against some of those debuffs. And then to increase the crit chance and crit damage further, I'm going for the Verdict of Justice. Okay, so let's just demonstrate these 3 skills for now. Alright, so we start the battle off. Nothing is going on there in the stats. So the first thing we'll take a look at is her trait. So you can see she's increasing her speed. She's moving very, very fast. And as long as we don't go into standby here, we can get access to blink and then we can teleport and then act again. So you can use any one of your damaging skills you want to. We can even go in for our charge skill like this to help get her, you know, mobile right into the enemy's lines. She's away from Triss now, so 4 tiles away from ally, so she's getting a 12% increase in those stats because of her Maverick's Cloak. Now that she's done her action, a non-standby action, she gains access to blink, so she can teleport even further away from allies. We can bring her over there. And now she can act again. She can gain remaining movement, and then she can act again, and you can use another skill now. But after she uses blink, she's gonna gain that penalty, Winged Repose for 4 turns, so she can't blink again for another 4 turns. Also because of her reaction, after using the skill blink, she gains 3 stacks of damage lock, so that's where she's getting these 3 stacks of damage lock over there. It just locks in the amount of damage that she can get. And so now we can choose to use either our support skill to reduce the cooldown or give us energy, as well as reduce the duration of this debuff over here. But remember, it's not going to reduce the duration if you've already blinked in this turn, so it's just going to give us the cooldown reduction and the energy. Or you can use your damaging skill Nova, so we'll knock back these enemies. So we can knock back these enemies. There she's gonna heal, and she's also she lost 1 stack of damage lock because she got hit once, so she's down to 2 stacks of damage lock. And she also heals because of her reaction. After being attacked or using skills with teleportation charge, she restores 40% of lost HP.
Be careful.
Okay, now the skill is glowing over here, and if we take a look at Nova, why is it glowing? Because if the character is in the Winged Repose at the start of the turn, attacks with the skill this turn treat targets as if being bound. So we're gonna knock them back 4 tiles. We're gonna increase the damage to 140% just because she's in this sort of debuff state at the start of a turn. That's why it's flashing like that. So we can actually knock this guy back 1, 2, 3, 4 tiles.
Coward.
So he didn't get knocked back because you actually have to be adjacent. She wasn't actually adjacent. We move next to him. Now we're actually adjacent.
Stand down.
And there he gets knocked back 4 tiles. So just make sure you're right next to the enemies you want to knock back.
Yield and save me some time.
Alright, so now we are on turn 3 and she still has 2 turns before she can blink again. But on the positive hand, this skill is going to power up our Nova skill, so that's why Nova is flashing. It's not a full penalty. And now she can just use this like every turn, which is amazing. No energy cost, no cooldown. Very obnoxious skill. Just knock back all those enemies next to it. Is the health restoration twice per turn, so she could heal there.
Careful.
She's also locking the amount of damage she can take, so it's very difficult for her to actually go down, and we can just keep spamming this thing. But let me just backtrack 1 turn here. So we have 2 turns left on that debuff. What we can also do is we can use the support skill like so. Then we restored 1 energy over there. Reduce the cooldown of skills.
Yield
And we've
save me some
reduced the
time.
cooldown by 1 turn, so she's no longer has that penalty. Now she can blink again. You can use another skill.
Stand down.
Very fun unit to play. And then you can blink again to another location like
Don't
so.
fight to me yet.
We can use our free skill here.
Coward.
Knock them into each other.
Hardly a chance.
Now she goes into another 4 turns
Yield and save me some time.
of wing repose. It's actually down to 3 turns. Not sure why, but yeah, that's good. One last thing I want to show with her basic attacks is this auxiliary passive on our support skill can also be triggered when you use a basic attack. So if we just do a basic attack, we're going to restore 1 energy, we're going to reduce cooldowns by 1 turn, and we're going to reduce the cooldown for winged repose by another turn. We'll reduce that to an extra 2. So that's why we can also just use basic attacks to activate our support skill.
I'll get yield and save me some time.
And so now she's restored energy, extra energy over there. And she's reduced the cooldown just down to 1 turn now with the basic attack. Another cool thing her basic attack is for the charge skill as well, also an auxiliary passive. After casting a basic attack, additionally inflicts stun on the target. So this skill is also allowing our basic attacks to stun enemies. We hit this enemy. He'll be stunned at the start of his turn. There, he got stunned at the start of his turn and he couldn't act. And finally, we're just going to switch out the charging skill and we'll take a look at Homecoming Swallow. Okay, so we got this Homecoming Swallow skill over here. It's an instant you gain Nest's Call.
There's fight to me yet.
So let's take a look at what this is. Nest's Call, so after performing physical attacks, inflicts speed down 2 on the target. At the end of the turn, automatically teleports to the closest ally within 5 tiles, restore 30% HP and restore 1 energy. So this allows it to get in there and get out safely as well. We can do an attack here.
Stand down. Hardly a challenge. There's fight to me yet.
Make sure we're 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We're 1 tile away. Make sure you're within 5 tiles of the ally. And she'll just teleport back to Triss over there at the end of a turn.
Oh, very well.
So she'll keep doing that, I think.
Please be careful. Yield and save me some time.
So the buff is still on her, so she'll just... There's no cooldown on this, so she'll just keep doing that at the end of every action. So I think if you want to disable that so she doesn't teleport back to ally, you can just reactivate the skill to remove Nest's Call. Now we've removed it from her, so she can just go about her business normally. Yeah, so those are some of her main skills that I'm going to go over. The other skills I haven't even selected, but these are also options. The passive one to increase the crit chance, like I said earlier, or the AoE one where you can deal even more staggers to multiple enemies is also a good skill there. The skill may be better at later stars when she has the energy and she reduces all those cooldowns. Same thing can be said about this at higher stars. Flash that cuts through darkness is going to be even better. But yeah. And then finally, just to take a look at some of Ciri's strengths and weaknesses. If you want to pause the video and compare Ciri over here to some of the other units, some of the other seekers as well. So these are just estimations just to give us an idea. I may have to update these as well as I play Ciri more. So for DPS, I've given Ciri a 7 there. She's just doing standard damage. I think the most of her damage is going to come in the form of maybe crits and extra crit damage that she does, but she doesn't have access to things like piercing damage. It's just raw damage. And so I've given her a 7 out of there. Also the extra attacks help her with the damage. AoE, she does very good AoE. Number of AoE skills that she can do. Fair amounts of damage that's going to increase her damage if she's attacking bound enemies as well. So solid there in AoE as well. For support, she doesn't really have much support units except for herself maybe, to reduce some of her cooldown and give her a little bit of energy. Not built for support, she's a lone wolf. Debuffs, she's quite a heavy debuff. I've given 8 there. She's going to be inflicting bound on a lot of enemies, even through basic attacks or AoE attacks. She can bound enemies to help the other Witcher 3 units do even more damage on enemies. A number of other debuffs that she's also applying, like speed down, etc. And then for tank, I've given her 7, could maybe be an 8. She's quite tanky with that extra regen that she's getting and the damage lock. 3 stacks of damage lock really helps her to be tanky and survive on her own no matter where she is. So she's more than just a glass cannon. Speed, so I've given her a 9 there. With the trait, she's one of the fastest units in the game with 252 speed was it, so she's gonna be moving fast. First, very fast. And then for movement, I've given her 9. You can see the incredible mobility that Ciri has. It's kind of her strength. She can reposition, move again, act again. So a 9, maybe an 8, or better 8 or 9 which is good there. And then range as well. A nice solid 7 there. She can reach a lot of enemies with a lot of her skills. Auto, haven't tested a lot, but I've just played a few battles with her on auto, and she seems smart enough, you know, at least with the build I'm running with Nova. Very simple for the AI to just do auto attacks with Nova, and then with her damage lock and regen, that's good for a unit on auto. Team player, I've given her a 5 there. Again, she's a lone wolf. She just focuses on doing her own thing, being away from her allies as much as possible maybe. She does have a leadership aura, so I've just given her 5 there. Resource investment, given 8, so I think you saw at 4 stars, 5 stars how good she becomes. Basically, you know, just almost infinite energy, cooldown reduction at 5 stars, reducing all cooldown reduction and things. So she kind of is wanting at 4 or 5 stars. And then at Astral Gear, you're gonna have to pull for that. So just giving her an 8 there. But she is free, so could be lower score there. Difficulty, don't think she's that difficult to play. Just a 7 over there. Once you know how a blink works, it's all good. Pull or not is irrelevant, not applicable here. If you had to pull for this unit, I think she'd be maybe a 7. But that concludes this guide, guys. Hope you enjoyed it and hope you're having fun with the new collaboration. Thanks so much as always. Take it easy and God bless.